everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the 1111 Matrix Code Revealed. As always, I'm your host, Garrett King. In today's episode, we're going to look at some of the Bible code matrices that I have found since the last time that I did a video. And I had briefly shown some of the matrices that I had found using a couple of Windows-based programs for searching for Bible codes. I found a couple of programs that I'm going to settle on as far as which ones I'm going to use, just because they're more user-friendly or whatever. But yeah, that's what we're going to look at today. So, excuse me, the very first one that we're going to start with is this one here. It's Advanced Bible Decoder. And this is the one that I'm predominantly using just because I'm still looking at the other one, trying to learn all of its ins and outs, because it has so much in it that it's completely mind-blowing how this program works. Now, this particular one here, Advanced Bible Decoder Pro, I had to pay for. The other one is completely free and has way more to offer, I guess, in a sense, than this particular program. But like I said, it's so extensive, it's just taking a tremendous amount of time to learn the program. I really do like this one, Advanced Bible Decoder Pro. Again, it's working perfect. I like how it makes the matrices look. And I still will continue to use this one, maybe more than the other one, but I want to, finish learning the other one and kind of get a feel for how they both work. So, okay, enough of that. So what we're looking at here is the program itself, and we're looking at a search that I performed this particular search, but I'm finding the same results that others have found. And that's what I want to show first, because I want to show how accurate this has been so far. And again, I know there's tons of arguments out there about the Bible codes, and there's many on the fence about it. There's some that are completely opposed to it, and then there's others that are totally advocating for it. So it's all over the place. I do think that a lot of those who are against it or are opposing it are disinformation type people. They don't want you to know that these codes exist, but they're there. So, okay, so let's look at this one very quickly. And again, the reason I'm showing this is because it's showing how accurate it was, that it did, in fact, well, we have to be careful here because, yes, it does predict 9/11. It does pretty much give us a complete story of what happened in so many words. But at the same time, the code was found after the event. So can you necessarily say that, yes, it predicted it? To a degree you can, because the prediction was there. We only found it after the event. Had we found it before, then yes, we could 100% say that it predicted it and we found it before the event actually took place. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and look at this. Now, the search term, let's go over here. The main master word that was put in was the twin, okay? And then what they're called slave words were airplane, towers, twice, and fell, okay? And that's exactly what happened. So there was the twin towers. They were struck by an airplane. There was two of them, and they both fell, okay? So now that we go to the matrix view, here it is. This is where it found the words in Hebrew. And I mean, the proximity of these being so close to one another and it all being right here is pretty phenomenal. So as you can see in red, it'll pop up here. It's the twin, okay? So this word right here is the twin. And the reason this one's darkened is because it's highlighted. So if I move over here and highlight that one, you can see. But anyway, this is the twin. In blue is towers, okay? So the twin towers fell, that's the word up here, fell twice. and the yellow word is airplane. Okay? So red word is twin, blue word is towers, and this pink word is fell, the green word is twice, and the yellow word is airplane. That's crazy. So literally, the twin towers fell twice by airplane. That's pretty stinking phenomenal. I mean, it did. It told us what was going to happen. Unfortunately, we found it after the event took place. Had we known, we might have been able to prevent it. Maybe. Who knows? Okay. Now, one of the reasons that I'm showing this is, again, there's a couple of things that I'm wanting to show today. One, coming up here within the next month or two, that if things unfold, we're going to be able to prove or disprove the accuracy of these codes if this event does or does not take place. Now, the other ones are tied into the 1111 matrix code, and obviously are going to be a while before we can determine whether the accuracy of what it's revealing or predicting is going to actually happen or not. But anyway, I just wanted to show this again as a sort of a precursor to what I'm going to show you, and show you again the accuracy of what it found. Okay, so we're going to go to this folder, and there's quite a number of things in here that I'm wanting to show you. So in the last video, I showed you where I had done a search for who is Bob, and then it came up with the scribe. Now, I was using a Windows-based program called Code Finder, and that one allowed me to search the King James Version of the Bible, the New Testament, and the Old Testament, and I showed where I had asked the question, who is Bob, and it came back with the scribe. I wanted to see what would happen if I did that using this program where it was completely in Hebrew. Now, I know that some people are going to sit here and argue, well, of course it found it because it found it in English. It's going to find it in Hebrew. Not necessarily, because when you think about it, it's looking for different words, because the same word in Hebrew is different than the one in English, and the alphabet is different. So you can't say naturally it's going to find it, because it's not looking for the definition of a word. It's looking for the actual words itself. So let's go ahead and close this program. Yeah, sure. Okay. So I already have these saved out, but in the Hebrew Bible, I asked, who is Bob? And what do you know? It came back with the same response. So in red is the question, who is Bob? And right here in yellow is the scribe, the exact same answer it gave me out of the English version of the Bible. Now, the chances of that, I don't even know what number, like percentage of accuracy that would be, but it would have to be really, really stinking astronomical. So, yeah, who is Bob? Bob appears to be the scribe, but what does that mean exactly? Don't know. Okay. The next one that I want to show you is I did a search for, because I've talked a lot about this being a computer-generated reality, a simulation. Now, this one was very interesting. So I did a search for reality. That was my master word. And then simulation, computer, universe were slave words. Now, check this out. This is pretty interesting. So we have reality in red. Okay. And then we have, I want to say, if I remember, yeah, I have it coded down here. Don't even have to think. So in red is reality. Computer is in blue. And it's, look at this. This is what's interesting. It's directly touching reality and universe. Okay. So we have reality in red, computer in blue, and universe in green. Now, this is what was really interesting, is it found the word simulation 3 times. One down here, but one extremely close to reality, and it's showing it both forwards and backwards, right there next to one another. Now, that was super interesting to me because it's showing forwards and backwards. It's a simulation. Does that tie into the whole thing about it being a continual loop? We go through these resets. The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning because it's starting over. It's running one way and going back the other. So I thought that was really cool how that came through. Okay, next one. I did a search for awakening, global awakening, and then I put in the numbers, okay? Now, the other program that I was talking about, which I'll just go ahead and open up here quickly, maybe. Yeah, here we go. So it's called JLA, and it's the word for the Bible, but I don't know how you pronounce it. So I don't know if it's Tanakh, something like that, but it's search and research. It has like this really long ass name. And this is an extensive ass program. I mean, it's just, and the reason that I like this one that I'm showing you currently right now and the advanced Bible decoder is because these are the ones that are being updated recently. So when that one loaded up, you saw where it said 2021, and then advanced Bible decoder was just recently updated in May of this year, 2022. Now, the code finder and some of these others have not been updated in years. So that's why I'm going to probably stick with these two. Now, this one there's just so much going on in this program. Like I said, I mean, there's all these different tabs up here, all these different tabs down here. It's just going to take some time to get to know this program. But what I like about it is you can go here to where it says ELS codes. You can come right here to where it says numbers in Hebrew. And then you can say, give it to me in full text. And I want the text to be either gender related, masculine or feminine. And you can say, I just want it in letter values. Now, what that means is, as I've talked about, Hebrew, back in those days, they didn't have a number system in place, so they used their alphabet. That's why each letter has a value assigned to it. So when we're looking for a number, say like 1111, it would actually come through in letter values. So what I do is come over here, change this to 1111, and say fill in number as text. So this is the text right here for 1111. And to prove that that is accurate, let me show you what it's doing. So we're going to go here, open us up very quickly. So try to move some stuff here. So if you remember, I put the alphabet and I put the value of each letter. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the very first letter of the alphabet, which is 1. Then we look over and we have the next one, which is 100. So now we're looking at 101. Then we go to the next one, and it's this one right here, and it's 10. So now instead of 101, we have 111. And then we look at, 111. And then we look at the last one, and it's back to this letter, so it's back to 1. So we have 1111, 1111. Okay, so that's what it's doing, and that's what I searched and how I searched the numbers in this next one that I'm going to show you. So again, you can see the name of the program here. It's JLA, and again, I don't know if that's Tanakh, however you say it, Search and Research Program. That's what it's called. This one is absolutely free, which blew my mind because it's so extensive. I'm surprised they're not charging people for it. Glad they're not, but I'm surprised they're not. So if you guys are interested in the program, you want to download it, That's what it's called. Just do a internet search for it and you'll find it. And again, it's a free download. Okay. So going back over here. So we have awakening in red. Okay. The word global in yellow. So there's a global awakening taking place. And then in dark blue right here, we have 369. Over here in green, 1111. And what's interesting is it is diagonal and it's crossing and touching the word awakening. It's like 1111 is what is initiating the awakening. So those of us that are seeing the number, we are awakening to this process. We have 369 on one side, and lo and behold, 333 on the other. So again, folks, you have to ask the question, what are the chances that we already know that these numbers are related in the 1111 matrix code? I've already talked about it being a global awakening, that we're all waking up around the world. So what are the chances of finding those exact same words? Global awakening, 1111, 333, 369, all right here together. Okay. It's pretty wild. Okay. Now we're going to get to this one. It's called Annihilation. Now, this one is what I've been talking about all along, folks. So, and I know it's bleak. It is. But it's what I've been talking about. And it's being told right here. This is one of those where I talked about we're not going to be able to know the accuracy of it until the time comes. But we have quite a bit of time to wait. So, let's look at this. In red is the word annihilation. And then right here in yellow is the word reset. Okay? And what's interesting is the words, the world is coming diagonally across reset, and they're touching. So it's almost as though it is saying it's going to reset the world. Now, I went ahead and put the word the sun in here. And if you look, the sun is in green. And it's this letter, and you can't tell it's green, but that's because it's using a letter out of the words annihilation. And it's literally crossing. The sun is literally going straight. It's in the same line, the same column as the word annihilation. Okay, so this letter, this letter, this letter, and this letter, and it's the sun. Now, right here in orange, well, sorry, let me just go back. I'm jumping ahead. Here in pink, crossing the word annihilation, is the word June. And then in orange, and it's diagonal, it's touching the sun, and it's also touching annihilation, is the year 2058. Okay, so think about it, folks. We have annihilation, the world reset, and as I've talked about, it possibly being a solar flare. We have the words the sun being the form or what is going to cause the annihilation, because it's in the same column, it's crossing over the word annihilation, and it's actually using part of or a letter out of that word. And then, as I've talked about, we're supposed to have a summer solstice solar eclipse in June of 2058, and it will be the last one that we'll have for nearly 200 years. And lo and behold, the word June is crossing annihilation and the sun. Not only crossing, but it's touching the word annihilation right where the word sun is also using the same letter out of annihilation. It's weird. Okay. So, when you look at this, it's as if it is predicting what I've been talking about all along. And when we look back to the World Trade Center and what it predicted, even though we found it after the fact, it still predicted it. The information was still there. But now we have some information that is arriving before the event. But again, like I said, we have a long-ass time to wait to find out if this is accurate. But again, what are the chances that you would have June 2058, the sun, the world, reset, annihilation, all right there together, and it's all talking about the exact same thing that's been being described to us in the 1111 matrix code? Pretty wild stuff. Okay, the last one that I want to show you is there's a couple of videos on Micah Dank's YouTube channel. Go check them out. They're his most recent videos where he is talking about the stock market and a looming stock market crash and whether or not it's going to actually happen or not. Okay, so this is still debatable. It's still up in the air. We don't know. There was an article that came out with the Vatican requesting to move funds from, whatever funding source they were using, but moving it to the Vatican. It's like why are they moving their money all of a sudden? So there's all this talk, all this sort of speculation of what's going to be happening. Now, one thing that Micah pointed out was that these stock market crashes they're how do I want to say this? They're controlled, and they're done at a certain time when we're in Libra. I believe that's what Micah said. You'll have to watch the videos. I watched them. I should have watched them again before I started recording in order to make sure that I'm saying everything correctly. But please go watch his videos and listen to what he's talking about. But it would be in this time frame of October. And when he's gone back and he's looked at each one of the stock market crashes that we've had in the past, one thing that he pointed out is that they all took place when and I'm not bad-mouthing anything, I just want people, I'm just using what he said, that it was always when there was a Republican in office. Okay. Well, obviously that's not the case now. So with that in mind, you would just automatically think, okay, well, we're not going to have one because there's not a Republican in office, but there's still this talk, okay, that it could happen. Things are looking as though it's going to happen. So I did a search, okay, and I did a search for these words: stock exchange, crash, October, and the year 2022. I found them all together, okay? They're all right here. So stock exchange is in red. Crash is crossing it. Okay? Literally crossing it and using one of the letters. October is right up here in blue, and 2022 is here in green. Now, with that being said, it's showing us all those elements, but is it predicting that, yes, it's going to happen, or no, it's not. So when I did this last night, just before going to bed, I had the thought of, okay, well, what if I go back in and add as slave words the word true, and then search for true, and then also search for false and see what comes up. So this morning when I woke up, I did a search for true, nothing. Okay, there was no table that came up at all that included all of these words and the word true. I did a search for false. Same thing. No table came up at all when I included the word false. So I was like, okay, well, not making any headway. I don't know whether this is going to happen or not. And I could have left it, up to chance where, okay, it's one of those things because it's a future event. It's unpredictable. Who knows what's going to happen? Well, but the Bible code's supposed to. So then I searched for, what was it? Correct and incorrect. I searched for will happen, won't happen. I searched for all kinds of different ways of doing it until I finally realized, okay, wait, let's just be simple about this. Let's just put yes and no. Because all these other words were producing zero results. There were no tables that had all of these phrases and, the other phrases that I was searching. It came back with zero results. When I included the word yes, I got one table back. Okay, and this is what they're calling it, a table that produces the matrix that you're looking at here on the screen. Not this particular one, but the one that had yes on it. It produced one table. And here it is. I guess we don't need it fully open. We can just look at the preview. Okay. And the word yes appears 3 times. So we have the word October. Well, actually, let's start up here. So in red, we have stock exchange. And then diagonally, that's why up here in yellow, I have an arrow that's going diagonal. We have the word crash. Okay. So the word crash is crossing stock exchange. Then in blue, I have October. In green, I have 2022. And then in yellow, with an arrow going up, we have yes. And then in yellow, with the arrow pointing over to the side, because it's running horizontally, we also have the word yes. So yes is appearing next to the year 2022, and it's also appearing close to the words stock exchange. Now I did a search for no. And this is what's interesting. So actually, let's go ahead and open up yes and no side by side. So here is yes. And let's make it a little bit bigger. And here is no. Now, this one looks really bigger, but that's because the no's were more spread out. So I made the grid larger. And that's easily done through the program. It wasn't me having to manipulate anything to make it larger. You just say, hey, I want more columns and more rows to show up in the final matrix that you're saving out. So if we look, we can still see the same things. We have red right here, and it's stock exchange. In yellow, crossing it, we have the word crash. We have October up here in blue, and 2022 over here in green. Now, everything else that you see in yellow, that is going horizontal. So up here, 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 and so on. All of these are the word no. Okay? The word no. And interestingly enough, right here, it's putting the word no, so we can see the first letter and the second letter here. We can see the same first letter and second letter here, but then it's going the other direction. It's showing us another palindrome. It found the same ones side by side being read both forwards and backwards. So with that in mind, there's two versions of the word no here. So literally we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 times the word no appears. So this will be a great test for us to determine the accuracy of the Bible codes, because there's a lot of talk of this coming, and we're able to see words that represent what is being spoken of that, could possibly be taking place or going to be taking place here soon, in October. But we have two different matrices, one giving us yes with two yeses. I think I said 3 earlier, but I meant 2. I think I looked up here and thought that was a yes as well, but it was actually just the word crash. If I said 3, I meant 2 because there's only actually 2. So yeah, 2 yeses to the 16 no's. And what that's suggesting to me is that the answer is no. It's not going to happen. That the no's are outruling the yeses. It's 2 to 16. It's a huge jump. But again, I don't know. That's just my prediction of what's going to happen. That we're not going to have a crash. Now, could I be wrong? Yes, I could be wrong. But I'm going based off of this information from the Bible codes, what I found encoded in the Hebrew version of the Bible. So, this one is actually the one I'm going to be watching closely, because we can make a quick determination about this, the accuracy of this, because October's not that far off. I'm not having to wait until the year 2058 when I'm in my 80s to find out if the world's going to be annihilated. By that time, it's not going to matter too much anyway, because I'll be close to my end if I even live that long. So yeah, this one will be the one like I said, I'm going to watch closely, because the events of this are coming up, and we'll have a quick answer of yes or no. Now, if it ends up being yes, how do we... Because, think about it. We are, in a sense, being told yes. Yes appears twice. But when you have 16 no's, and it does happen, then how do you explain all of these no's showing up? That's going to be the determining factor of whether, in my opinion, we can put much stock into the accuracy of the Bible codes. Now, just based off what I've already shown you today, I'm sitting here thinking this stuff is pretty freaking accurate. Because as we've seen, it's shown us the World Trade Center. In my last video, I showed the Titanic, what it showed about that. So yeah, it predicted those events, but it predicted them after the events already happened. So this is going to be interesting. The next 2 months or so is going to be interesting to see if a stock market crash takes place. But going off of this information, it appears as though the answer is no. It's not going to happen. So there we are. We just have to sit back and wait and see. Now, the other thing is, if the prediction is correct, the no is correct, then think about all of the other matrices that I showed you today. If this is correct and it's predicting that no stock market crash, stock exchange crash is not going to happen, then is that proving that the other matrices that I showed you are also accurate? Again, it's just unfortunate we have to wait till 2058 to find out about the reset. So, with that in mind, if you guys can think of any other additional words that you feel like would fit each one of these specifically. Now, don't give me something that, for annihilation that, doesn't make any sense and would, be better to go with, I don't know, the stock market one or something to that, degree. Let's make sure that it's in line with what we're looking for. So if you guys can think of any other words or any other sort of, future events, things that you want me to search to see if I can find, and it can still be events that have already happened, but no one's yet found a Bible code for it. Speak up. Let's search. Let's see what we can find. Let's think of some key words that we can use in order to find information. Now, we really have to put our thinking caps on when we're doing this, because I started off doing a search for stock market, found nothing. It was only after I put stock exchange, which is another word for the stock market, did I start finding these connections. So when something returns a table that's 0, that doesn't mean there's not something there. We just have to think, and we have to be wise and smart about the words that we're searching and putting them together and making sure that, it still makes sense to the overall picture of what we're trying to search for, or trying to see, if we can predict something or something that's already been, or something that's already happened, but check and see if it was predicted here first. So, yeah. So if you guys have any thoughts, let me know. Put them in the comments section or DM me. Please try to refrain from sending any emails right now if you can. Just again, put them in the comments section or DM me through Instagram, and I will go from there. It's just my inbox is just out of control with emails. It's overwhelming. Which is great, because your guys' responses and, are great. I mean, that's wonderful. I'm not, saying anything bad about it. It's just, I'm one person. So, I wish I could reply to every single email, and I wish I could do it and get them all taken care of in one day. It's not going to happen. I don't live in that world. I wish I did. So, but that's what I wanted to show you today. I think it's very interesting. I think it's interesting that we're finding these connections in the Bible codes, in the Hebrew version of the Bible. That all this stuff is coming up, and it's all right there. It's not like it's picking a section and then way down the line, it finds another word. Okay. These are all within close proximity to one another. And that's very unusual. So, all right, that's going to be all for this time. Again, let me know what your thoughts are. And if you have any ideas for searches that you would like me to perform, let me know and I will do it and see what we get. So, yeah. All right, folks, until next time, I hope you all take care and have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.